Hello everyone, welcome to Mission Command MTG, and we're back looking at the top uncommons for standard from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And remember to like and subscribe to get further content like this throughout Avatar: The Last Airbender season and beyond. So let's dive into my 10 cards I think are going to be the most useful in standard. So the first is Earth Kingdom Jailer for 2 and a white mana. You get a human soldier ally, that's a 3/3. And when this creature enters the battlefield, exile up to one target artifact, creature, or enchantment an opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater until this creature leaves the battlefield. So really powerful ability here to go ahead and not only get a creature, which is typically what we see on this kind of card, but you can also get an enchantment or an artifact, and we know that there are a lot of powerful 3 mana or greater artifacts and enchantments that are currently seeing a lot of play in standard. So I think Earth Kingdom Jailer is going to be a key part of the ally deck for that reason. Next, we've got Ira's Demonstration for 1 and a red mana. You get a sorcery, that's a lesson, and you can choose one. Ira's Demonstration deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls. Great ability there to kind of take out all the 1 toughness creatures on your opponent's side. And with all of the tokens we've got currently in standards that I think are going to be more prevalent now that the bannings have happened and VV's gone and Props Idalic Memory is gone and Screaming Nemesis are gone, that I think we're going to see more of those really go wide strategies in standard from some players. So that's going to be a good ability there. And then also, and the flexibility of the card is Ira's Demonstration then could also deal 4 damage to target creature. So you can deal 4 damage to one creature, or you can deal 1 to all of them. And I think the flexibility on the card is what's going to make it very standard playable. It's definitely a sideboard card in red decks, and probably if the format goes to a kind of go wide strategy, then I think it's main deckable as well. Next, we've got at number 8, Sun Warriors for 2, a red and a white mana. You get a human warrior ally, that's a 3/5 with Firebending of X, where X is number of creatures you control. And for 5 mana, you can create a 1/1 white ally creature token. So Sun Warriors, I'm looking at this as a answer to our firebending question. So what are we going to do with all that firebending mana? Well, 5 mana to create a 1/1 seems steep, and it is, but it's a way to use that mana efficiently during combat, in this case to create another creature. And we also are going to have other ways to use that mana, and Sun Warriors is going to be a really powerful way to really enable our firebending decks to get them to be very successful in standard. At number 7, I've got Bitter Work for 1, a red and a green mana. You get an enchantment. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more creatures with power 4 or greater, you get to draw a card. And it's got Exhaust 4, where you can Earthbend 4, activate only during your turn. So Bitter Work is going to go right into the Temur Battlecryer deck as a great 3-drop, because every time you attack now, you get to draw a card. We just got rid of Props Edict, and that card was kind of responsible for pushing the VV deck in a lot of ways. But we've also seen cards similar to Bitter Work that have seen a lot of play in standard, but with slightly different requirements. And I like this requirement in that Temur Battlecryer strategy, so I think this is going to see play there. All right, at number 6, we've got Tolls of War for a white and a black mana. You get an enchantment, and when this enchantment enters the battlefield, you get to create a clue token. And then whenever you sacrifice a permanent during your turn, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. So it only happens once a turn. But in our Azores, in our Orzhov deck, that's our sacrifice deck, I think this easily goes in as a couple copies, because every time you go ahead and sacrifice something, you're getting to create a 1/1 white ally token. So basically it's replacing itself. And I think that's a really powerful ability in Standard for that deck. So you're always going to have things you can sacrifice because Tolls of War is going to, in essence, replace whatever you're sacrificing as long as it's a creature. And it's a permanent, so it could be anything you're sacrificing. Even the clue token is going to get you that ally. All right, and number 5, I've got Dragonfly Swarm. For 1, a blue and a red mana, you get a dragon insect. That's a X or star 3 with flying and ward 1. This creature's power is equal to the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. When this creature dies, if there's a lesson card in your graveyard, draw a card. So where I see Dragonfly Swarm is in our new Izzet Spells deck, where we're going to be drawing a lot of cards, doing a lot of things to pump things up, and I think it's going to fit really well into that strategy. And the fact that it has Ward 1 and 3 toughness, I think is going to help it, because it's not going to die to Burst Lightning or some of the other lower cost removal spells. And because of that, I think it's going to be a key part of a Izzet Spells deck as we move forward, because in the mid to late game, his power is going to be 5, maybe 6 or more, because you're going to have that many spells in your graveyard. And number 4, I've got Solstice Revelations. For 2 and a red mana, you get an instant. That's a lesson. And exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the spell's mana value is less than the number of mountains you control. If you don't cast that card this way, put it into your hand. So it's 3 mana, draw a card. So that doesn't seem like it's great. But remember, you have all the cards that are firebending. So this is a use for all that firebending magic that you get from attacking. So all that mana you're going to get, Solstice Revelation allows you to spend that. And the result of that is you're going to get a spell, because you're probably going to be playing this in a deck that's primarily playing mountains. And because of that, you're going to be able to hit pretty much anything in your deck most of the time when you get to that first non-land card. And then it also has flashback for 6 and a red mana. So later in the game, you can do it again, because you're again going to have the firebending mana from your attackers. And because of that, I've got this at number 4, because I really feel like it's going to be something that's going to really help red decks move a little bit faster in Standard. All right, coming in at number 3, I've got Grand for a blue mana, legendary creature, human peasant ally, and a 1/2. And whenever Grand becomes tapped, you draw a card and then discard a card. Okay, so nice ability on Grand when you attack with her, or station something with her, or cruise something with her. And then non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast as long as there are 3 or more lessons in your graveyard. So really powerful ability there, that cost reduction when you get your 3rd lesson in the graveyard. So Grand, I think it becomes a core part of any deck that's going to be playing a lot of lessons. At number 2, I've got Boomerang Basics. For a blue mana, you get a sorcery that's a lesson, and return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If you control that permanent, draw a card. So this is at sorcery speed, which is the downside of it, but I can see this as something you're using to, in essence, bounce something on your side of the battlefield. You get that card back, but you also get to draw a card from that. And I think, right now the Esper bounce deck isn't very popular anymore, because we've just had better stuff. But this is another way of bouncing things to get more activations, and because of that, I think it's got a place in Standard. And at number 1, I've got Accumulate Wisdom. For 1 and a blue mana, you get an instant. That's a lesson. And look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of those cards into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And put each of those cards into your hand instead if there are 3 or more lessons in your graveyard. So Accumulate Wisdom could be 2 mana, draw 3. And because of that, this is a bonkers good card. And I think as long as you are playing a lessons deck. And that could be in older formats as well, because we do have lessons from the first Strixhaven set, and we're going to get additional lessons, I assume, in the upcoming Strixhaven set. So I'm really seeing this potentially as a multi-format all-star card, because you're going to be able to probably consistently play this and you're drawing 3 cards. So that's why I've got it as the #1 uncommon from the set. So if you didn't get a chance to view them already, here is my video for ranking the mythics from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and also then my top 20 rares for standard from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And thanks for staying to the end of the video, and I will see you in the next one.